Ultimately, the sales and the finance ends have been in battle for years, and ultimately they have very different objectives. The finance side, their key component is making sure that this debt who's outstanding gets paid. There's concern mechanisms and some ownership that's involved with that, but that's their primary focus. Sales, on the other hand, they're kind of on the other side. It's a client relationship, and from their vantage point, they don't want to take any action that really is going to alienate that customer, or ultimately, from their perspective, sever any future revenue potential from that customer. Well, I think from the financial executive perspective, it comes down to transparency, and also comes down to being able to allow them to really manage our processes and procedures and how we kind of formulate our human capital within that without really the associated risk, the time, and everything that goes with it. So from their vantage point, they have a very high degree of control as well as the transparency. From the sales rep perspective, look, the hard truth of it is most of our sales reps are going to lose their commission when the account gets placed for collections. Our goal is to make sure that that's all they lose, because at the end of the day, you really are looking at the relationship, your brand, and that isn't just with that customer buying again from them, which frankly is one of our objectives. It's also about who else they talk with and really how deep that they go in accelerating that brand or potentially devaluating it. Anytime a business has a commercial bad debt, it's not a happy event. Our goal and our focus is to look at both sides of the equation, both from the financial side, which it's about getting that money and protecting the business risk of that client. From the sales perspective, it's about looking at the relationship. And between both of those, there's a fair amount to a high degree of business intelligence to allow us to really align our resources. I think a good example of that is how we look at each individual account to satisfy both camps. As an example, we may have some individual debts that are placed with us with companies that are truly in very financial distress. They may have tax liens, IRS outstanding. There may even be 4 or 5 judgments that are already pending against them. In that situation, we want to know that, we want to understand those details, and we want to make decisions that might be against what the financial camp or the sales rep camp may look for. Why? Because we understand that the best thing for both individuals is to look at this as it is, which is a difficult scenario to expect anything from, as opposed to another account that we would take the money and the effort to really understand, where they're essentially cash rich, they've got open credit lines, they've got a full fleet that is up to date on leases, and say, we're not going to look at a settlement, we're not going to look at an extended payout plan, that maybe that sales rep on the front end may say, that's what I'm looking for. But again, when we go back to the alignment of issue of fair, both of those situations would satisfy both the financial as well as the sales executives. It comes down to us delivering what most agencies aren't really willing to spend and go to the next degree to be able to deliver.